Time is 6:30. I will now call the August 21st, 2024 meeting of the Common Council of the City of Lawrence to order. Please stand and join in the Pledge of Allegiance and prayer.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Heavenly Father, give us the strength when we are weak, love and understanding when we feel forsaken, courage when we are afraid, wisdom when we feel foolish, comfort when we are alone, hope when we feel rejected, and peace when we are in turmoil. Amen.
Amen.
Next, we will have a roll call to determine a quorum. Okay. Start with Councilor Giles.
Aye. Here.
Thank you.
I'm here.
Zach Kramer.
Thank you. Betty Robinson, here.
Carlos Jennings.
Sharon Freeman here.
Christy Crone.
Liz Mazur here.
Lisa Chavis.
Thank you, councilors. Yes. Thank you, councilors. We do have a quorum. Let the record reflect that there are 9 councilors present and that we have a quorum. This meeting has been properly noticed in accordance with the Indiana Open Door Law. Copies of the agenda are located in the back of the meeting room. Also, for any citizens wishing to speak under citizens' comments later in the agenda, please sign in using the sign-in sheet located in the back of the meeting room. The next agenda item is comments of council members and special recognitions or resolutions. We do have a special resolution this evening. The full council would like to recognize Olympic champion Cole Hawker. Councilor Kramer, I understand you requested this special resolution. Would you like to make any preliminary remarks before the clerk reads the resolution?
I just thought that winning an Olympic gold medal is one of the biggest achievements an athlete can obtain, and I thought it deserved him being a Lawrence area resident that we acknowledge that.
Thank you, Councilor. Madam Clerk, please read Resolution Number 6, 2024 in its entirety.
For Resolution Number 6, 2024, a special resolution of the Common Council of the City of Lawrence honoring Olympic champion Cole Hawker. Whereas on August 6, 2024, Cole Hawker won the 1,500-meter gold medal in track and field at the 2024 Summer Olympic Games in Paris, France, setting an Olympic record. And whereas Cole Hawker grew up in Indianapolis, Indiana, and attended Cathedral High School, and whereas Cole Hawker has won multiple titles in track and field, and whereas the Common Council of the City of Lawrence, Indiana, desires to recognize Cole Hawker for winning the 1,500-meter gold medal in track and field at the 2024 Summer Olympic Games and setting an Olympic record. And whereas may Cole Hawker be celebrated as an exemplar of excellence and an embodiment of empowerment for generations to come. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Common Council of the City of Lawrence as follows. Number 1, the Common Council recognizes Cole Hawker for winning the 1,500-meter gold medal in track and field at the 2024 Summer Olympic Games and setting an Olympic record. 2, the Common Council greatly appreciates Cole Hawker's commitment to representing the United States of America with excellence on the world stage. Number 3, the Common Council congratulates Cole Hocker for his extraordinary achievement at the 2024 Summer Olympic Games. 4, the mayor is invited to join in this resolution by affixing her signature hereto. 5, this resolution shall be in full force and effect and after its adoption by the Common Council, approval by the mayor, and publications as required by law.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Congratulations once again to Cole Harker. Do we have a motion to approve Resolution Number 6, 2024?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Thank you, Counselor. Second.
Second.
Thank you, Counselor. Is there any further discussion? We will now take a vote. All those in favor?
Roll call.
Oh, got to do a roll call, sorry. Counselor?
Yes.
Counselor?
Yes.
Counselor Kramer?
Yes.
Counselor Robinson, yes?
Aye.
Yes.
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 Lisa? Davis?
Yes.
Thank you, Counselor. All those opposed? None. Was unanimous. Thank you. Next agenda item is the approval of minutes for the meeting of August the 5th, 2024. Are there any questions or corrections to the minutes of the meeting of August the 5th, 2024? None. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes for the meeting of August the 5th, 2024?
So moved.
Thank you, Counselor Kramer.
Second.
Thank you, Counselor Freeman. We will now take any discussion? We will now take a vote. Counselor Giles?
Yes. Yes.
Counselor Wells? Thank you, Counselor. Counselor Kramer?
Yes.
Robinson, yes. Counselor Jennings?
Aye.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Freeman.
Aye.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Counselor. Counselor Chavis?
Yes.
Thank you, Counselor. All those opposed? Any opposers? No, all is unanimous. The next agenda item is the signing of vouchers, approval of claims, and authorization of payment. Do we have a motion to approve the signing of vouchers and approval of claims?
So moved.
Thank you, Counselor Jennings. Second.
Second.
Thank you, Counselor Crone. Any discussion? We will now move to take a vote. Counselor Giles?
Yes.
Counselor Wells?
Yes.
Counselor Kramer?
Yes.
Counselor Robinson, yes. Counselor Jennings?
Aye.
Thank you. Counselor Freeman?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Counselor Crone.
Yes.
Thank you, Counselor Masua.
Yes.
Thank you, Counselor Chavis. Any opposers? None, it's all unanimous. The next agenda item is the reports of committees. I understand that the Code and Rules Committee met this evening. Counselor Crone, are you prepared to give a report of the Code and Rules Committee?
Yes, I am. Thank you, Madam President. Codes Committee met at 5:30 this evening. We met specifically to review proposal number 11, 2024, enacting a 17th supplement to the Code of Ordinances of the City of Lawrence, Indiana. We received the packets in our mailboxes, but did not feel comfortable voting on it one way or the other because we did not have enough time to review it. So we have tabled it. We will meet Tuesday, September 3rd at 5:30.
Okay. Thank you, Counselor Crone. Any other reports? None? The next agenda item, unfinished business, proposal 11, 2024. Madam Clerk, would you please read the title of the proposal into the record?
Ordinance number 9, 2024, an ordinance adopting and enacting a 17th supplement to the Code of Ordinance of the City of Lawrence, Indiana. Whereas a 17th supplement to the Code of Ordinance of the City of Lawrence, Indiana, as adopted on December 1st, 2008 has been completed. Okay. I apologize. I'm just giving you guys the title. Ordinance number 9, 2024, an ordinance adopting and enacting a 17th supplement to the Code of Ordinances for the City of Lawrence, Indiana.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. This proposal was introduced at our July 17th, 2024 meeting. The Code and Rules Committee met this evening and has recommended that this proposal be tabled. No action was taken. Next agenda item is new business, clarification from Lawrence City Controller Humphrey Nagila on a recent newspaper article regarding the City of Lawrence's finances. Thank you. Could you identify yourself, Mr. Nagila?
Good evening, members of the council. My name is Humphrey Nagila, and I'm the city controller. Standing here before you tonight to clarify an article that was published by the current newspaper on August 5th, I believe, stating that the city of Lawrence could potentially face a deficit of $4 million in the 2024 budget. I would like to clarify, the city of Lawrence does not have a deficit of $4 million, neither does it have a $3.8 million deficit in the 2024 budget. The last time I stood before you, council members, I did indicate that we did not have the numbers on what the budget shortfall for 2024 would be, and we were hoping to present those ordinances, the additional appropriation ordinance as well as the transfer resolution resolutions tonight before you, but because of the time constraints, we saw it fit to just bring it up in a new month business meeting. So that's why you don't have it before here, but I do have the numbers before you that I would be glad to share that with the council members. The shortage that we have in the 2024, the shortfall that we have on the 2024 budget is in two primary areas. One of them is the sanitation. As you all know, we came before you in July, and we did request for an approval by the council to increase the solid waste management tax rate collection by, I believe, $2.50. We do believe that that would be sufficient revenues to manage the solid waste going forward. However, because those revenues that we are getting since July are not factored in the 2024 budget, we still have a shortfall of $425,000 that was not covered. The amount that was budgeted for the sanitation prior to us and for the 2024 budget is short by $425,000. And that's why we would come before you and request additional appropriation for that. And I'm open for any questions there to avoid any confusion on this. I know it may be confusing to some people.
I have a question, if you may. In the sanitation, isn't that all done through the water utility?
No, it's not. Solid waste and sanitation is done through our Department of Public Works.
Okay. I have a concern that, with the numbers, and I called you, I think it was the 12th, I left a message on your voicemail to get some of this clarification, but never heard back from you. This is off of the sanitation, but one of the questions that I wanted to find out was, in the last meeting, I had asked you about this $6 million from the bond money, and I believe you said that the city has received that?
Yes, and I'm getting ready to explain that as well. I believe that's part of the confusion for the $4 million budget deficit. So I just wanted to clarify the sanitation piece and then move on, but
the sanitation fee was kind of an expected thing, I believe, because, we it drug out, well, what did we just approve that, what, a month ago to raise that,
Correct.
yeah,
So we did approve for it, however, it's not in the 2024 budget. But because we moved to priority
Right.
from Republic at a higher rate, that's where we're having the budget shortfall on that.
And how much you say that shortfall was for the sanitation, please?
About 425,000. That's what we would be seeking as additional appropriation for the sanitation piece.
Madam President,
Yes, sir.
I do have an additional question. Totally understand what's going on here with that and appreciate you getting it in order. But is Priority $400,000 more expensive than Republic?
It's not necessarily $400,000. I haven't seen what, I think they came in, I'd have to check the numbers, but it's not
You see what I'm
400.
getting at? It's like if we budgeted, if the budget was made in '23 for '24 for solid waste, I'm just curious to like the difference
Yeah.
in cost between what should have been budgeted for at the Republic collection. I didn't expect Priority, that right now, like you said, you're gonna bring us some numbers, but that's a big difference in cost. It's, on the surface.
Correct.
Right,
I believe what happened is by the time the 2023 budget was getting adopted by the council, I don't believe the decision to move with priority had already been established. So I understand your point. So the 425 in theory should be the difference, but without having the numbers and comparing the two, I can't really give you the actual difference. What I'm going by, the 425 is just the shortage from what was budgeted for to get us through the year, basically.
I know, and I understand what you're doing. It's just, and I get that. I just was a little taken back that at this time, it's that much difference. Nothing on you, just, I was not, I hope we're paying, I just hope Priority is not super expensive compared to what we've been paying.
Then the other area that we would come forward for additional appropriations, and Councilor Giles brought it up in the last meeting, I believe we did discuss a little bit on that, was the pensions fund. The pensions fund was not budgeted for in 2024, but that's the fund that we have been using for all our retirees payout, or basically just anyone terminating employment. The last time it was budgeted for was in 2022 for the 23 budget. It had $1 million. Coming into 2024, it had $669,000, January 2024. But also in January 2024, we did have a huge turnover with the change of administration, and we had some pretty significant payouts. One of them that I can recall was about close to the tune of $300,000, almost $320,000 just in payouts. So needless to say, that fund quickly depleted because we have had termination of employments throughout the year. And right now we're currently standing at $99,000 in the negative on that fund.
In the negative?
In the negative, correct. So we would come before you as an additional appropriation to replenish that fund back to current, and I probably would seek an additional fund just as a cushion to get us through the rest of the year. And during the budget season, we'll have a different conversation on going forward how we want to be funding that fund, just to make sure that we don't go through the same similar problem that we have. But just for the purposes of 2024, the only additional appropriation that we would require from there would probably be about $200,000. So if you add combined additional appropriation that we would need to prevent any budget shortfalls for 2024 would be about $625,000, $630,000. Just wanted to clarify that.
So that would put the budget right at $500,000, because we're almost $100,000 in the hole right now with the budget, with the fund. So at $600,000, that would put us to the plus of $500,000. Is that right?
Not sure I understand. That would prevent any budget shortfalls for 2024.
For this year.
Correct.
But not just for that fund, both funds, the priority, the trash and the 600.
Correct.
So,
Can I ask a question going back to priority? I am just confused because I'm looking through this packet that we were given, and it said that with the implementation of the new fees, that we would end up okay. So I'm,
Correct.
so.
So we would end up okay. So the fees that we raise are calculated to make sure to factor in the expenses, the yearly expenses by priority. However, the revenue that we are generating since you approved that in July are not in the 2024 budget. They're going straight to the reserves. And so that's why we would need to come before you for an additional appropriation to pull some of it out to cover the deficit on the 2024 budget. Then going forward, to your point, correct. It would be sufficient to cover the expenses coming out in 2025 from priority or by priority.
Madam President,
Yes, ma'am.
if I could just ask a follow-up question. And I know what Councilor Mazur is speaking to. And I just want to point this out to ensure that going forward, when we're seeking these rate increases, I'll have to go back and look at the meeting, but I'm almost certain the question was asked many times, and we were told that what we were doing was going to make us good for the rest of the year. If we should have known at that time when we were making that decision that an appropriation would be needed and what the amount would be. So therefore, we're making a decision with all of the information and not part of the information. So that's just a request I have going forward, is that, you know, if we're told that, then we're taking that for face value. And I know that we were told that. And so it's shocking to me that we're coming back for an appropriation for priority. I honestly didn't think that that was going to be something that was going to be on the list. So that's just, you know, feedback just as we go forward in other things in the future, that I would really appreciate having that information at the time that we're having those conversations. Thank you.
Madam Chair, I have a question. I want to make sure I understand you correctly, because I think maybe Councilor Chavis and Councilor Mazur may not catch this tidbit, or maybe I'm wrong. We increased the rates in July.
Correct.
The money, the rate collection is not going into this current fiscal year's fund. So we got to go get the money not out of the general fund per se, but out of the funds we've collected and move it into 24. So what you said, we were good, we are good. Yeah. It's just, this is an administrative move, an accounting move, to move money from one line item to the next line item so that you can effectively then spend that money on the bills that are coming in 24, and that continued collection will be okay for 25, because we're going to make sure that the collection is put in a line item, into the line item that can pay directly because it's in a current year.
And Councilor Jice is basically spot on. That's exactly what's happening here. So anytime the city generates revenues, it goes straight to the general fund, or the general fund. It goes straight to the reserves. We cannot use that without council approval, pay any expenses. That's basically what's happening. But the $2.50 that you all approved, and when it was presented to you as we are good, yes, that is correct. We are good. It should be sufficient to put us in a stable position in 2024 and going forward. However, without council approval, we can go back in and just use the revenues that we've generated from, say, July through August. And that's all.
Okay.
So it's really not tapping into the reserves, it's just your approval.
So one more question, please, and I understand that, but one more question just for clarification. So the amount that we collected based on the increase from July to December was $425,000.
I would have to check how much we've collected, but the amount that we need to keep us current to finish 2024 is $425,000.
See, that's saying two different things. So I understand what Councilor Giles is saying, but if what Councilor Giles is saying, we collected that we are in the process of collecting that $425,000 based on the increase, and all we're doing is taking that money and moving it. But I don't hear you saying that, Controller. What I hear you saying is we need 425. We're going to take what we got from the increase from July to December. What I'm asking you for is, what is the difference?
So between July and December, we should have that 425,000 collected as revenues.
So you're correcting your statement. So now
Correct.
you're saying, okay,
Yep.
thank you.
But you will confirm it.
But I will confirm it.
Yeah, you're giving us a educated, but you'll confirm it.
Correct.
Right. But according to your calculations, when you guys pick the rate, it should be there.
Correct.
Right.
So the other area was, we did talk about the pensions. Did anyone have any questions on the pensions? Are we clear on that? Okay. And then I do want to address,
I got one thing to say to you about the pensions.
yes,
We kind of talked about this earlier. I think it's important for the council, new councilors, to see that you said no money was added into the pension fund. It was only added in 22. Nothing was added. Nothing was budgeted in 23, and nothing was budgeted in 24. But if something would have been budgeted each year, we wouldn't have this potential.
wouldn't have this potential
shortfall.
deficit.
So I want to make sure that that we see that, because I've always been a proponent of us putting something in that every year to assure that we don't get into this place. And this is not a bad place we're at. It could have been it could potentially be worse. And I just want to make sure that we're always good protecting our folks that have served 30 years with us.
That's why I recommended during the budget season for 2025, I will present a plan on how we can, and of course we'll get input from all members on how we can continue to sustain that fund. That way we, to avoid this kind of situation in the future. Right. So now I would like to address the $6 million from the bond brought up by Councilor Wells. So we actually got, the GEO bond was actually, we were approved for $7 million. And we did pick out some of the city has several leases, debts that we've had from the past. These debts are 10 plus years, some are 20 years, some are even 30 years, just like your mortgages. So with this GEO bond, because we got it at a lower rate, it was prudent for the city to clear some of their high interest leases and pay them out early. So we did select 3 leases that had higher interest than the GEO bond. And those 3 leases amounted to $3 million in total. Now, this is long-term, but just like your mortgage, we budget for every lease, each lease, in our debt service line item every year in our budget. So these leases were budgeted for in 2024 budget as for their annual payments, debt servicing payments. So when we pay them out early, the funds that were budgeted for in the 2024 budget to pay our 2024 debt obligation are freed up. We did pay the first half of the lease. Typically, our leases are paid twice a year. We do pay the first half in February, I believe, and then the second half in July. So because we had already paid the first half of the leases, when we got the bond approved and paid off those 3 debts early, we were left with $403,000 that would have paid 2024 debt service schedule. In order for us to be able to use those funds in other categories, we do need council approval, and that's what we call the transfer resolution. So we would come back at the beginning of the month meeting in September with the 2 transfer resolutions. One, the additional appropriation, which is the pensions and the sanitation. And then another one would be the transfer resolution to allow us move the funds from the debt service line item, the $403,000, to other areas that we may need to use within the budget. And so that's how we spent the first $3 million of the $7 million that we got from the GEO bond. The rest is with us, and we continue to use it on capital projects for city operations. One of the things that we're going to use that for is this building here, this assembly here. There is an extensive plan to revamp everything, do the carpeting, change the audio, the cameras, visuals, and I believe just on top of my head, that's at a cost of about $180,000 to get everything tech. I believe you would be getting information or communication from our tech department on some of those upgrades here shortly. I know it was a request by some of the council members. So that's how we use, those are some of the uses that we use for those GEO bonds, in addition to paying off those 3 debt leases that we have.
Because it can only be used for capital.
Yes, just capital improvement.
Capital improvement. I like capital improvements. Get something tangible. I can feel it, smell it, touch it.
Any questions for
What
me?
was the interest difference?
What was it?
The interest difference, you said that you paid off a higher
Right, so
loan. So what was, tell us what the interest was, the difference was?
I don't have the dollar, the amount, the actual amount on top of my mind, but I believe the difference was about a percentage, which a percentage in interest is very significant. What we basically did is kind of take a personal loan to pay your high interest credit cards. That's really what we did in essence.
It's just smart. It's fiscally smart.
Do you have any other questions for me?
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Najila.
Thank you so much for your understanding. Yep.
Okay. Any further discussion, councilors? Next on the agenda, comments from the administration. Welcome.
Hey.
Andre is out today, so I am stepping in to give some announcements. First, the Lee Road Trail installation, the base coat of the asphalt was laid this week, and the weather is allowing for steady progress.
You talking in the thing a little bit.
Am I not?
What was your name, ma'am?
I'm Jamie Wyrick, Director of Communications for City Events. Thank you, Carlos. Councilman Jennings. My other announcements are just about a couple of new events that we have coming up that have not been talked about before. So we are doing a movie with Heartland Film Festival. We're calling it Starry Night Films at the Fort, and it's actually next Tuesday. So 7 p.m. at the Cultural Campus, and we will be showing Breakfast at Tiffany's. So please come out. It's a free event. There'll be a couple of food trucks, popcorn, and then the movie. Heartland will be also selling wine and beer as well. And then, I don't know if you all have seen on the news, the partnership that we have with skateparkrespect.org and the stuff that they are doing with our skate park at Lawrence Community Park. So we're actually going to invite the public and the community out to help paint the murals and clean up that park. So it's called Spray and Skate. It'll be on September the 8th from 10 to 4 at the skate park. There'll actually be a mural that is paint by numbers, so everyone can participate.
Oh, that's good.
Right? And then there'll be some live graffiti artists as well painting while we're out there. And there'll be, again, food vendors and a DJ, and so we are partnering with them to do that and make that happen for our community. So it's pretty exciting. And then the usual, so August 24th, which is this Saturday, we have Community Safety Day from 10 to 2 at Fire Station 40 on 59th and Lee Road. September 14th, we have Barbecue and Blues from 12 to 6 at the Cultural Campus. The 21st is Loggers in Lawrence, also at the Cultural Campus from 2 to 6. Dia Latino Day Lawrence is on September the 28th from 10 to 2 at the Cultural Campus. And of course, every Thursday we have our Fort Bend Farmers Market from 4 to 7 until October the 3rd.
Question.
Yes.
When is the state park paint of the mural?
The skate park is September the 8th from 10 to 4.
I had a
It's a
question.
Sunday.
Will you be sharing you share all this great stuff on Facebook, right?
It is on all of ours, Facebook and Instagram. And then it's also on our website. If you go to thecityoflawrence.org and the very first thing that pops up says Visit Lawrence. If you click there, we have a whole events page that has everything on it.
That's awesome. You're doing a good job.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we will have comments, citizens' comments, and they shall be limited to 3 minutes. And we have J.D. Masor.
Thank you, President Robinson. Nice to be here again. Counselors, nice to see y'all. My name is J.D. Mazur. I live at 6203 Carrington Drive with her. And I am giving the denouement to the dog park saga thanks to the collaboration of Eric, who proves that you can change, old dogs can change and learn new tricks. No offense, no offense. People like, Counselor Wells, who's a dog lover, Counselor Mazur, who's a weed hater. We're not having any weed spraying or bug spraying at the dog park. So thank you very much for everybody's participation in getting that accomplished. Last week, I was listening. I do watch the council meetings when I'm not here on YouTube, which I don't know how I get on it, but it's magical, something on the internet. I like this, that our agenda always says Microsoft.com Teams. Thank you, Ms. Atkinson, for doing that. But when I try to find your meeting on YouTube, because I want to see what things Councilor Wells says about keeping track of, consultant fees, and Councilor Giles asking lots of questions last week. And I know Councilor Atkinson is not going to type up every word for everything, but it would be kind of convenient, to address the city if there was a link to the YouTube. I tried to find it via my own account, but I can't find it anywhere. So again, in the interest of transparency and for people to see that our counselors are making insightful questions and comments, it would be nice if there could be a link on the city website, in the minutes somewhere, but I just can't find it. And I have spent hours trying. So I would like to see that little change made. But otherwise, thank you, and that's all for now.
Go Colts.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Next, we will have, a motion to adjourn.
Madam President,
Yes.
I'm sorry. Something that was run past a constituent that I would like to have asked the controller, and I forgot. Could I possibly call him back up and ask him a question from a constituent, or would that be out of order?
Yes, you can ask.
Yes, sir. Humphrey, the constituent told me, and honestly, I had completely forgotten this.
Okay.
And you're probably not aware of it. But back in 2013, council passed an ordinance that the city financials would be put on the city website and posted, and this person brought this to my attention that it has not been done this year. Is that an oversight, or is it just a reason for that, or?
It's not an oversight. One of the areas, and I think we discussed this in the budget workshop, is the controller's office is severely understaffed right now. Typically, that role has been done by our financial analyst, which we don't currently have one to track that. I just also want to clarify, there is no ordinance. That is just the controller's office or the administration being transparent and just sharing that information, but there is no ordinance that requires the administration to publish that. However, it is the intention to continue doing so, but just this being the 8th month of 2024 with the new administration, there's been a lot of things that have, 3 major items, that projects that the administration is dealing with. We've had to go through the CBA negotiations, which are still ongoing, and they're time-consuming. We've had to deal with the auditors, state audit. We just got out of those. We had them for the past 2.5 months, and then finally, right now, we're in the budget season. So with a very short-staffed controller's office, that does contribute to those constraints. But of course, we are open if any specific financial information is required. We are more than happy to provide that upon request. And then just going forward, once everything settles down, we do intend to continue doing that.
Well, I was told this by a former counselor who actually sponsored the ordinance back, he said, in 2013. That's the reason why I brought it up.
And I will review, and I could be wrong. I will review and check to see if there's an ordinance governing that. But as far as reasoning why the administration is not doing that is for the reasons I just explained.
Another real quick question, too. On this budget shortfall, when I believe it was, correct me if I'm wrong, it was either you that said it or Leandre that said it the last meeting, that there was a letter by the State Board of Accounts that was in reference to this shortfall? Was that accurate or no?
That is not accurate. I'm not privy to that information, and I have never discussed. I'm not even required, and members that were on the exit conference from the SBOA understand that we are not even supposed to discuss information that was discussed at the state board meeting, but I'm not privy to that information, and I don't believe that's accurate information.
Okay. And then in our discussion on this budget shortfall, what you presented was basically maybe doing it in my head somewhere around $1 million is what you're looking to try to get an appropriation for the next meeting. Is that about right?
No, that's not correct. For the appropriation, I did specify it would be about 625, about 630,000 that we would need as the budget shortfall. The 200,000 would go towards the pension fund.
Right.
To give it a cushion, to bring it current as well as give it a cushion for the rest of the year. And then about 425 would go towards the sanitation shortfall. Those are the two shortfall areas.
Because I thought I heard you say something about there was 400,000 that was freed up from paying off the leases, and then that would have to, for you to be able to utilize that money, it would have to be approved by the council.
Correct. And so the 403 that I did refer to is already in the 2024 budget. That was budgeted towards debt servicing for 2024. But since the loans that 403,000 was going to go towards have been paid off with the general obligation, so we do have those funds. However, we can't just use those. until we get, that's called a transfer resolution and not an additional appropriation. The funds are already within the budget, but just to move them from one category to a different category requires council approval, and that's what we would be requesting.
Okay.
I would just, I guess maybe I missed something, but in the newspaper, they were talking like $3.8 million shortfall, but it seems like all we discussed here tonight was less than $1 million.
Because it wasn't a 3.
And that's why I started by clarifying there is no 3.8 million nor 4 million shortfall in the 2024 budget. I'm not sure where the current got that information from, because the last meeting that I stood before you, I did not even mention that. So that's why I felt the need to clarify that.
Okay.
I think they
All
got
right.
it from me. Right. Well, yes, we were going back and forth in all of the meeting last time. It was trying to understand it, and I think it got convoluted, and I think they got it from me because we didn't know where the fall was coming from.
Right.
With the 3.6. So I'll take the blame for this one.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Najila.
Thank you so much.
Can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second. Thank you, councilors.